But ETH is the fucking Microsoft operating system in crypto that the financial system will use. There's the broadest density of talent. It has been battle tested longer than any other smart contract platform. And it's got the scalable layer 2s. It gives them the ability to spin up their own chains and do all the things that they want to experiment with. So, yeah, I mean, it was blindingly obvious that this was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I think since April, when ETH has hit that low, we are already into an ETH market while nobody is actually seeing it. The stablecoin supply on ETH has gone 2x last year. The amount of adoption on ETH is constantly growing. But then there's the fire or the question that's coming up, or the debate, where some people are saying, yeah, we need to value ETH through the standard valuation metrics that you need to do for any equity firm. And then there is the network effects group of people that are saying, yeah, the actual revenue model comes in later when the actual adoption kicks in. That's the same with Amazon. It's the same with Meta, formerly Facebook. It first starts to grow and then the revenue starts to come in. Are we into an ETH market? And how do you see those valuations and the entire discussion that is taking place right now?
So the network effects are gigantic in ETH, but people don't understand. So the issue people get to is the layer 2s are robbing the layer 1. It's not the case per se. The layer 2s are built on top of the layer 1 so you can handle more throughput overall. There's just excess capacity right now. But as the financial system builds on it, don't forget the financial system does quadrillions in trades every year. More than ETH could ever cope with, even with all the layer 2s. So once you start building a lot more usage of these chains, there'll be more batching to the base of ETH. ETH becomes more valuable as the security layer for the entire thing, and the whole thing becomes much more valuable. But you're at that point where you've built a lot of inventory, but there's not that much use for the block space yet. So the question is block space demand going to grow or not? And by what you're hearing from the banking system is block space demand is going to grow dramatically. So in which case it accrues to the network, and over time, as these excess capacity fills up, the value starts to appear across the entire ecosystem and people will understand.
That's fair. And also ETH is most secure, hasn't had any outage, most scalable, all those things.
It's not perfect, but nothing needs to be perfect for people to use it. It just needs to be proven. I mean, because people don't want risk.
Yes, and as a venture capitalist, we always try to find the perfect project, but none of them are. You invest into a team. It's kind of the same as a retail investor. If you get the opportunity to buy liquid tokens right now, you're also investing into teams and their perspectives for the future. And that brings me to, you've been mentioning that not everything is going to go up. The markets might be moving into selective runs. If you go into this year and you expect the markets to pick up momentum, what are the narratives that you are looking out for?
So there is always the layer 1 narrative, and it's the easiest one. What are the blockchains that people are going to use for many things? So in layer 1s, we've got ETH, the big daddy. We've already talked about how that's going to work. Solana's pretty fucking obvious that it's going to do well if block space demand increases and money comes in. And then you've got to look at what other layer 1s are out there that's being used at scale or earlier stage, and you've got a few out there. Sui, Avalanche, there's a bunch. Okay, so that's a sector that's probably going to benefit because it never accrues to one blockchain. We've seen it in cloud compute, we've seen it in all sorts, every example ever. There's like 5 or 6 of these things that do well. Okay, great. Then we've got, what are the other narratives? It's clear that somewhere with AI and agents, there's something. I saw you had a tweet this morning, and I've been thinking about it as well as Tau and stuff like this, right? Mm-hmm. How's that going to play? That feels there's something interesting there, whether it's decentralized compute or decentralized AI, something around that will probably play out within this. What are the component parts? I don't really know. I don't really play a lot of these things. Privacy feels like it's going to be something important as a narrative, particularly with the EU being the way it is right now, and just the geopolitical world out there. I think we can see that, but we're also seeing chains like Sui building privacy on chain as well in different ways. So I think we see that narrative. Then there's going to be the applications layer. What is the big application layer outside of DeFi? I don't know what it's going to be, but there'll be something big that comes, right? There always is, normally in a cycle. So we'll see the applications layer stuff. That's kind of how I've looked at it. And then the other one that I follow closely, which is also on ETH, which is digital art, which I think has another big component, will attract a lot of attention.